pump from someone to repair. I am not sure if I can repair it. The complaint is it stays on at times, doesn't come off properly. Part of the problem could be the pressure system. Another part of the problem could be this, which is an air valve. This is a Goulds pump, as we could clearly see, and basically it's, I think, a BF03S, which from what I understand means balanced flow. I guess the O3 is the variation. This is the nozzle cleaner plug. Clearly down here is extremely well rusted. It's gonna be lots of fun trying to get those bolts out. I mean, they may or may not come out. This really looks suspect. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get it out. The nut is completely gone, and who knows. I may or may not be able to get it out. The nameplate came off. I scraped it out actually, but it was completely corroded past. So let's see if I can repair this, if I can refurbish it. I am probably going to first take off this and this to see how that works. This appears to be some sort of casting that is a different material, not straight steel. Some kind of die casting, so hopefully it doesn't snap. This should be fairly easy to come off though. This, I doubt. This apparently is sort of like the air bladder chamber, but it doesn't have a rubber bladder. This is ordinarily done. This just has an air valve here that regulates how much air is maintained in here to give you that thing. If you don't have something like that, what will happen is this will just fill, and then you'll end up with, yes, you'll have a chamber of water, but as soon as it goes slightly, the pressure will drop, and defeats the entire purpose of having a pressure chamber. So yeah, I assume this is working. Doesn't look that bad, doesn't look that great either. This, let's separate. This is the motor assembly, motor back chamber, start capacitor should be in here. This, let me turn this out and see if I get it open. Come on. Right, that's your pressure switch. Right, so supply on both sides, switched contacts, and this will be most likely an induction motor. Right, so then this is your coupling that would couple this to the pump. Here inside here we will have our seals for our things, proper stuff. This is the priming plug, so you open this out and you fill it with water at the first time, and it will keep the water, but that's just to prime it to make sure it works. So let's start with taking this off, and see what we get from there. Well, so far we've managed to get this piece off very easily. This came out surprisingly easily. This was the air valve here, and it's an interesting concept. I didn't realize it had an air valve. Of course, this is probably dead. We'll have to see how good that is. Alright, took out this pipe because it's in the way. This is clearly, I've seen a little bit better days. I am not convinced that any of these things are working like they should. I mean, if you look at this, right, this is an air valve system. Yeah, clearly this requires some cleanup. Let's see what's going on. Let's see how bad this seal is. Expected. All these bolts came out easily. In fact, it looked like someone opened that before and they put some silicone on those bolts to prevent any kind of leakage of water through. So chances are this was a chain seal. So now I'm just going to put something in there, pry it, tap it a few times. Hopefully this will separate out. And then we'll work with the fun part. As we can see, this is quite well corroded, quite a lot of mess to clean up. That's some work in it. Alright, well, at least that's not falling apart. So I'm going to go through, clean this up. The seal appears to be nice and soft yet, so maybe that gets reused easily and doesn't cause problems. The side is nice and that. It's really just a flange and that. Inside there is terrible. Let me see if I can put on the light. Right, are we getting light in there? Yeah, we're getting a little light in there. Have a look inside there. This is just terrible. Lots of work to clean this up and make this slightly presentable again. So far, all of these have been relatively easy. This one came out easier than I thought. Fortunately, it had a lot of bite in it. This one gave a lot of trouble, but fortunately these are 1/2 inch and I have a 12mm socket, 1/2 inch of slip in, nailed in the half, pounded in the 1/2 inch, 12mm, got that one out. This one, well, It's gotta have one of them at least that is gonna give some trouble, right? So this one isn't quite there, isn't a hex anymore, and yeah, it doesn't really want to move, so we'll keep going at it. Fortunately, those screws were stainless steel screws, and this came out really easily. It's just a matter of cleaning this up. Again, this is plastic, some kind of hard plastic. Here's a bit rough. I don't think it's worth my while to actually interfere with it. Seems to be some kind of, I don't know, fiber reinforced resin. That's my guess, could be wrong. Then this is probably the same thing. It does not really, it's spinning well enough. That is the grit. I'm cleaning that grit up. As you can see, it's a mess. These things, all these little high bumps, these not really high bumps, they're really just dudes. So I'm going to clean all this up, scrub this down. I was going to break this apart, but it doesn't really make sense. This seal is not leaking, there's nothing wrong with it. There's no point in breaking it down to put it back up when there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm going to leave that. This is the back of the motor, as we expected, a start capacitor, and it looks like some kind of governor mechanism. A few more knocks haven't taken all the dirt from the back, and that has separated. I'm seeing a rubber seal. Hopefully that's good. I'll turn this around and show just how much dirt came out with just the initial little fast scraping with the screwdriver and not scraping up on top here yet. Look at this. This thing is completely black, completely, you know, covered. That's the amount of dirt. There's still a lot here. There's still almost everything inside there. I mean, just scraped right around here, just the immediate area. Yup, this thing has been completely gone. Most of the nozzles, jets, all the other areas completely sealed up with dirt. I am amazed that this thing was still working. And we're starting to see some form. We're starting to see a bulge here, something of similar nature here, something there, some depression here, depression there. This is actually showing up. This is not coming off, even though it has a hex formation where you could put crescents on it. So yeah, hopefully this all ties up nicely in a little bit, and it isn't corroded through completely or almost completely in any location. Imagine this metal is being cut with the knife. Let me see if I can show it. Yep, have a look at that. I am basically scraping off the top of metal with the knife. I really do hope this thing works after I'm finished, but here I've scraped off the metal again. Watch this. That's metal coming off with a stainless steel knife. Now, obviously it's cast iron, but still, there's no way I should be able to cut, you know, into iron with a stainless steel knife. This thing is extremely porous, barely holding together. Edges have been, when I knock it with the hammer, are chipping off, little pieces are coming off. But we're getting the final shape, we're getting there. Let's continue. I'm going to call this finished. I'm just going to put probably some rust remover on this. I'm not sure if it really helps at all. It's down to base metal. So I'll try a little spot and see. We actually have a number, casting number there. So this is like as good as it's going to get. A lot better. The inlet port still has some amount of debris in there. I've cleaned it as much as I could, but that goes straight into the jet, so there's not much else. There's no easy access. This has been cleaned out. This has been sort of helped a bit. I'm gonna put some rust remover on the front here at least. Let me put the light on so we can see in here. Right, this was almost completely plugged. It's now a lot better. Not perfect, but I can't get fully inside there. Piece stripped off here, but again, this is just an inlet with the high pressure to come in for the jet to work, so that doesn't really matter. This is extremely soft. I've put a grinder on this. I've put a grinder on the edge here, and I mean, some of it isn't coming out silver. It's that bad that some of it is not really coming out like metal. It's almost like graphite. It's that bad. Primer, it's supposed to be anti-corrosive. Who knows? I'll put a fairly thick coat, finish up my whole spray can there. So I think I'm gonna leave it like this. That seems good enough. This is the valve. Haven't started cleaning. I think it's a shoulder valve, you call this. For the record, this is a typical valve stem inside, and as you realize, it's not as long. The pieces separate like this, but it's a long piece with that. I'm not sure it's absolutely necessary, but this is a typical one. I've cleaned this up fairly good. It could get better, obviously. I can get this perfectly brass colored. This brass, but yeah, what's the point? I mean, this is not going to be a brand new pump. No two ways about it. This is the valve on top. As you can see, it's completely seized up. It's, you know, there's rust on everything. It's barely moving. This is a rubber gasket for something. Yeah, seen better days. This piece here is obviously can screw out. I'm not sure if it's wood screwing it out, if it will damage the threads that's in there and that's sealed up. But of course, clean up all this, take out all this, dig out all this, clean up the whole thing, see what I'm working with. This is where we're at. This rubber, clearly dead, no point, completely gone. That was stuck in here. That in itself, I've managed to clean that out inside here. As you could see, there's some bars here, 2 bars there, and there's a bar somewhere here. Well, maybe not. Well, maybe just those 2 bars. That was solid. Right. Anyway, this I've ground down until I've gotten base metal. Again, this stupid thing of, oh, there's a lip there, right? Of grinding without using any dust mask, and this is definitely zinc. I'm gonna guess it's zinc. It really does look like zinc. It corrodes like zinc. It's probably most likely zinc. So yeah, there's a hole here for a valve. I've taken off the shoulder valve from here. This whole thing is cracking, as you can see. Threads are falling off. This hole inside here is completely corroded. I really don't know if this can be salvaged. Bit of it off. It is a pain in the behind. I don't want to scrape off the numbers. It's relatively, well, it's better than what it was before. It's not great. Inside is a bit rougher. Yeah, that is probably more of a problem, because that's where the water is moving. But notwithstanding, this is really the fixed part. This is not the impeller. This does not rotate. Rust on this is not a major issue. Just to make it look a little better, I think I'm going to spray paint it black. I just have to tape off this area and then tape it off from that side. But apart from that, yeah, just spray paint it to look better. A dodgy little connection here. One piece of tubing over our next piece into this, and test out meter. This pressure gauge. It's working perfectly fine. I had 20 on my compressor, 20 here, so that's good. Just gonna clean it up a little bit, spray paint it maybe black. This is the housing for the impeller. This is the matte black. This is the pressure gauge. I've polished up the brass a little, not perfectly, spray painted it again. I could have done a better job sanding out the old paint so it got a lot smoother. That is the old paint, imperfections on the old paint, and I could have opened this and tried to clean inside here, but again, old pump, not really worth it. I've wire brushed this a bit, not the greatest. Wire brush is kicking a bit, but clean up this, clean up around here, took a file to it, leveled it out largely, little slight differences, but good enough. I'll turn it around, have a look inside. It's not perfectly clean, a lot. 1% better than what it was. Not perfectly clean, will take forever to perfectly clean it. It's an old pump. In fact, this is apparently, if I talk to the owner today, this is over 60 years old. Yes, getting it back perfect makes no sense. This is the other side, again, cleaned up here, so it should seat a little bit better. A little bit of clean here. Look at the inside. Yes, it's a little wet, but largely improved. Very much improved compared to what it was before. Went to the hardware, couldn't get the correct length bolts. These are 5/16, so I believe. And anyway, these looks like I've gotten all these around the edge. As the old ones. This one is good. In fact, 6 of the 8 are reasonable. 2 of them are completely corroded here, so I decided to change all. The front ones, water is leaking there. That's the place where water leaks easily, and these are really badly corroded. This is one of the better ones, so I've gotten stainless steel for those, and fortunately I got the correct length. So we're in position, we've got our bolts. Let's start reassembly. Rubber seals that came out, front one, back one. Look like this was homemade actually, doesn't look quite bought. It has lips, it's not ideal, ready it should be replaced. I don't have replacements, so I'm going to use them back and use some of this silicone. It's black silicone, RTV, whatever that means, 100% silicone. It doesn't really say it's used for gaskets. It's ready for use on porcelain tile, glass, wood and laminate. I think it should work, and if it doesn't, I'll have to go and buy specific tubes, gaskets, silicone, but That said, that is probably the same price as this and about probably a third of the quantity. So I'm going to try this first. Let this dry out. I'll wash them, and it's this one I need to start with anyway, so by the time this one will dry, and just put a loop of silicone, hopefully get it aligned back okay to match back up. These lips hopefully don't become a problem. We'll see how it goes. Has been reassembled. Stainless steel bolts in the front, a little bit of silicone came out on the edges. I'll clean it up after, and in the back assembled everything else too. A bit of silicone, slight amount. I don't think I overput. I don't think it would go in too far and cause problems. This is the old little Goulds label, as neat as I could get it. The blue paint is still showing on the rubber. Again, I'll clean up some of that silicone after neaten that up. So time to put in the pressure valve. This is the priming plug, so that is only when I'm ready to basically prime the pump. I'll put in that after I finish prime. And then we have the inlet and outlet port in written out, so obviously those are the thing. The plug for cleaning the jet and the drain plug. Both of these are severely corroded, especially this one. What I'm going to have to do is weld and regrind and make back the hex, because I cannot find those screws, and hunting around in it and trying to get that hunting for a couple little scrapes, trying to put this on the side while I was tightening up. But apart from that, yeah, looks decent enough. Hopefully it doesn't leak and it works. This is the finished item. Still has some slag inclusion, but it's as good as it's gonna get. I really am fed up of trying it. It was going well on the side, but it looks stupid. It will take a long time to clean up, and I am going to get annoyed and try to clean it up. So let's leave it, put some rust remover on this, try to get reasonably okay, and then paint it. As it happens, water has been at low pressure in the system for the last 2 days. I just so happened to finish refurbishing this pump and needed to test it. So it's dodgily put together. This is the workout from before. I have done this dodgy little connection, connected in, check valve, out, valve. I have to take out this pump. What I need to do is put 2 couplings, one there and one possibly here, or even closer, maybe even right there. I'll have a coupling and the next one on the wall there, in case I need to break and remove the pump. That'll actually make sense. So somewhere right there and right there. So I have tested it. It works. That is without the outlet line connected. Water was coming out. It had a little bit of rust and other debris before, and then it started getting clear. So it's all good.